When a company messes up, what's the difference between a customer who storms off, never to return, and one who ends up being even more loyal? Well, a lot of the time, it boils down to just one thing. Did they feel like they were treated fairly? Today, we're going to break down what fair actually means in customer service and why the human part of that interaction is maybe the most powerful piece of the whole puzzle.
Oh yeah, we've all been there, right? The delivery is completely wrong, the service you paid for just doesn't work, you run into some company policy that makes absolutely no sense. Just for a second, think back to a time you were that frustrated customer. What was it that really got to you? Was it the mistake itself, or was it how the problem was handled? Just hold on to that thought, because it's pretty much the key to everything we're about to unpack.
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we'll touch on what happens when service goes wrong. Then, we're going to introduce a three-part framework to understand fairness, looking at the outcome versus the process. From there, we'll zoom in on the human side of justice, and finally, we'll look at how the best companies build this idea of fairness from the inside out, and wrap it all up with why that simple interaction can mean everything.
So, what really happens when a product or a service just doesn't deliver? Well, customers don't just get mad and then forget about it. Nope, they take action.
And these actions can be either public or private. The public ones are obvious, complaining right to the company, maybe escalating it to a consumer group, or in really serious cases, even taking legal action. But honestly, the private actions can be just as bad, if not worse. We're talking about spreading negative word of mouth to all their friends and family, or the big one, just quietly deciding to stop doing business with you altogether. That's the real risk every company is up against when things go sideways.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. This feeling of being treated fairly or unfairly, it's not just some random emotion. There's actually a science to it. Researchers have a way to analyze it, breaking down this whole idea of fairness, or justice as they call it, into a few distinct parts. To really understand what makes a customer experience good or bad, you have to look at it from three different angles. The best way to think about it is like a three-legged stool. If any one of those legs is shaky, the whole thing is going to topple over.
So leg number one is what we call distributive justice. This one's the most straightforward. It's all about the outcome. Did you get that refund you asked for? Did they fix the broken item? This is the what you actually get in the end as compensation.
Then we've got leg number two, procedural justice. Now, this isn't about what you got, it's all about how you got it. Was the process to get that refund an absolute nightmare? Did you have to fill out a mountain of paperwork, wait on hold for an hour, jump through a bunch of hoops? Or was it fast, simple, and painless? That's the heart of procedural fairness. And that brings us to the third leg, and really our main focus today, interactional justice. This is the human element. It has nothing to do with the company's policy or the final refund. It is all about how you were treated by the person you spoke with. Were they polite? Did they actually listen to you? Did they seem to care? This right here is often the part of the experience that sticks with us the most.
Now, before we really dive deep into that human element, it's super important that we're all clear on the difference between those first two types of justice. So just to recap, distributive justice is the what, that tangible result, like getting your money back or a new product. And procedural justice is the how, the rules, the policies, the steps you had to take to get there. A company can totally nail the outcome but have a terrible process, or the other way around. But where does the real magic happen? Okay, let's get to the big one. Interactional justice. This is the element that can completely change a customer's entire feeling about a company, for better or for worse.
This whole dimension is about the quality of that conversation. It's that feeling that you were actually heard, that you were respected, and that you were treated like a person, not just another ticket number in a queue. It's in the tone of voice, the words they choose, the empathy they show you in that moment.
This quote just nails it. It's not just about being polite. It says, staff needs to be courteous, sure, but also honest about what's going on, empathetic to your frustration, and ethical in how they handle it. It's that powerful combination that can take a complaint and turn it into a moment where a company actually builds trust.
So if treating people this way is so important, how do the great companies make sure it happens every single time? Well, I can tell you, it doesn't come from a script. It comes from the company's culture.
You can't just tell your employees to be more empathetic and expect it to work. Real interactional justice has to flow from the inside. There's this idea called internal customer relationship management, and the core of it is so simple. The way a company treats its own employees is a direct reflection of how those employees are going to treat customers.
So what does a fair internal culture even look like? Well, it starts at the top, with leaders who are genuinely focused on the customer, not just with posters on the wall, but in every decision they make. It needs a supportive culture where employees feel like the company has their back. It also depends on having fair and clear HR policies, because an employee who feels treated unfairly by their boss isn't going to turn around and treat a customer fairly. And, maybe most importantly, leaders have to lead by example, modeling the exact behavior they want to see from their team.
And you can see here how these internal things like customer-focused leadership and empowering your frontline staff, they're the foundation of the entire system. When you invest in your people, when you build a supportive internal culture, you are directly investing in the experience your customers are going to have. You really can't have one without the other.
All right, let's bring it all together. At the end of the day, why should a business be so obsessed with mastering this one single dimension of justice? That human interaction.
Here's the bottom line. Getting that interaction right does so much more than just fix a problem. A truly fair and empathetic interaction can restore a company's credibility and stop real damage to its brand image. It can literally transform a complete failure into a chance to build even more trust with a customer. And so often, that positive, human connection is what people remember long after they've forgotten what the refund was even for.
So, I'll leave you with this to think about. Go back to that customer service experience you had in your head at the beginning of all this. When you really think about it, what was the part that made the biggest difference to you? Was it the what you got, the how you got it, or was it the way that one person made you feel? My guess is the answer is in the interaction.